how everything pans out next week. But you know, you can see oil has been far more sensitive to
Actually,
news.
speaking of which, I don't think we've got Ping Ni in the room, have we? Or have
No,
we?
no, we don't. But if
How
you
do
know,
you
if
know
you
that?
have a quick flick at WTI, that would be really good, because you can see how it's flicked around. You know, it's really moved with the news on Donald Trump was good on the week, so up it went. And then we hear the news of the hurricane in and a Norwegian oil strike, and down she came again. So she's being very, very touchy and sensitive at the moment, poor oil. You're on
Why
an
are
alley
you
chart now
giving her a gender?
because she's just
This is just a
sensitive
fluke.
to news.
Oh, okay. Right. Cool.
Just go back before alley. I can't look at an alley chart. It does my head in. There we go. So Friday we had a bit of a pullback, but you can see the strong move when we thought there was a hurricane going to really hit supplies, and an oil strike by Norway, big producer as well. But yeah, we had good move up on the Monday, where they all thought things are good because Donald Trump's underway, and then it was like, oh, okay, hang on. What's the next bit of news we need? Oh, oil strike. Oh, hurricane. Off we go again. And oil does that. It responds it's very sensitive to news and very fundamentals, not necessarily economic data, but definitely the news on what could or couldn't do.
So Big
How it
Rocket
could affect
Man
supplies
and
and
his
demand.
news over the weekend, how does that affect it?
Not so much. Let's see. But people just sort of look at him and just say, well, in the scheme of things, is he just doing this for attention right at the moment?
So what's causing that?
That on late Friday, not sure. I'm not sure what caused that late on Friday night.
That's a tough market to trade, right? When it's doing that, and probably you're looking at this.
Trade that.
I think the relationship between oil and risk on, risk off is a little bit more complicated. So if there's economic events that would impact GDP, oil will go down. If there's geopolitical events that will impact the supply of oil will go up.
Correct.
And those are two different sides of the risk off coin. So
I like the second part of that. The first part is kind of weird to me.
Well, no, oil moves in sympathy with the S&P 500 a lot of the time. S&P goes down, oil goes down, right? Because you know an expanding economy means that people will there's more travel, there's more, you know, people will be driving around, putting more oil in their cars and whatever, or petrol in their cars. And a contracting economy means people will be spending less money on, you know, on domestic travel involving. And I guess the whole thing is skewed now because a lot of planes are not flying in the sky anymore. But
that was my next point.
but oil a lot of the time.
Whole thing.
Yeah, a lot of the time oil moves in sympathy with the S&P in terms of a barometer of economic risk on or risk off. But when there's geopolitical problems, especially involving Middle Eastern countries, oil can rally. Oil can catch a big bid. But I would expect if this whole North Korean nuclear thing pans out, then oil that should put fire under oil. Not meaning to make a pun, sorry, but
oil does love a good bombing. It does love a good rocket launch. Yeah, it does.
Yeah, sink a couple of ships in the.
It does take off.
Yeah, all that
but
sort of stuff.
The geopolitical influences really do impact oil. So, and you can't. And there was a time, PH, where you were looking at what was really pushing the price of oil up. It wasn't necessarily demand. It was the supply. It was necessarily things like China stockpiling, absolutely stockpiling, because they had the opportunity to buy oil at $20 US a barrel. Then instead of spending, upwards of 50, 60, which they had been for the last couple of years. So there are those kind of elements as well, that it's not quite as straightforward. And as you said, it's very complicated with what moves it and what doesn't move it. But the geopolitical influences really knock it around.
Yep.
Isn't there a bigger picture in play as well? And I've got no idea what that does from, well, it doesn't affect it from day to day, but let's face it, oil, coal, traditional fossil fuels, if you like, are under pressure from, I would think, maybe a 20, 40, 50 year vision into the future where we don't have those fossil fuels driving the economy as they have traditionally, for things like wind, solar, wave, whatever.
That's a long way out, Geoff. And oil companies,
and I'm saying that,
have
PH,
historically done
and I am
best
saying that, and I totally get with that. But
yeah,
as I said, it doesn't even make a dent in day-to-day transactions. But when does it? When does the big picture come into play?
I don't think we'll see that in our lifetimes.
Truly?
Yep.
What do you think?
Let's open up that question again when your bamboo's ready to harvest.
I'm getting closer.
He's getting close. Yeah, I was going to say it's probably a lot closer to harvesting than it is to everybody driving an electric car. Whilst that is, and the hybrids are there, it's progressive. It's not going to take over tomorrow.
Yeah. Hey, have we heard from everyone? I noticed Lloyd's in the show, and haven't heard anything from Lloyd yet, and I'm just wondering.
No, we will. We're getting there.
Okay.
These incredibly important geopolitical and future events, in my opinion, need to be discussed. As does, there's no doubt about it, the currency's relative strengths, and that's what Lloyd's going to talk about.
And Geoff, for Bitcoin, I think the narrative now is people are buying it to hedge against this printing of the US dollar. So that's why you see now corporations even buying it, which I never expected and no one expected, like MicroStrategy and Square. And also they want to hedge against our friend Trump. I don't know how that works. So again, uncertainty, and also, but I think it's more on the printing of the US dollars. So you were asking, right, what happens if Bitcoin runs out? There might be a short supply.
I asked you that question the other day.
Yeah, because now even companies are buying it. And you look at MicroStrategy buying what? 250 million, and Square buying 50 million. That's a lot. They're not like retail investors like us. So that's why it tried to dump below 10 many times, but it just didn't. People were buying. Now we know it's those whales, that we're buying it.
It's super interesting, Shukri, where we are situated on the current world scale. I'm not trying to be dramatic here, but I'm thinking Ice Age, Stone Age. Really, it's a tectonic movement, I believe, that we're about to see. And how that looks, I've got no idea, but I think you're not far from the right path in the short term. I think Ainsley's dead on the money in the short term. And I think that someday, somehow, somewhere, we're going to see a magnanimous change in what we do now. If that happens tomorrow, maybe it does. I don't see how that happens. I don't see how that works, frankly, but I absolutely see it's possible. And all of these things have absolutely nothing to do with today or tomorrow.
Interesting times. And Aussies like Geoff and Ainslie, do you know that the most innovative company in crypto now is considered to be Synthetics? They're from Australia.
Oh, they're an Aussie-based one, aren't they? I know about
Yeah, and they're going to launch an exchange with Euro USD, S&P 500, gold traded there called SIDS. They just launched it. I haven't seen it, but you see all these things coming, and it's being, it's confusing now, okay?
Wasn't it easy when we just looked at an Aussie
it
Kiwi?
was. It absolutely was. But isn't it fascinating? There are so many opportunities.
It is evolving.
If you can get on the right side of them, absolutely perfect. Anyway, our day-to-day jobs rely on what currencies do versus the other, and there's no better person to tell us about that than Lloyd, who's been very, very patient, because that's what he studies. G'day, mate. How you doing?
No, anytime, Lloyd.
I was actually listening, so I don't mind being out of the show. I mean, all this information, I think, I agree with Geoff, that it's actually useful to the other traders, or they should, especially with the whole world now is a bit messy. So yeah, it's good to know what is going on around and keep the options open.
Well, the thing is, Lloyd, if we're prepared to stick to everything we've done forever and not look outside of that, then we're ostriches with our heads in the sand. It's not a good idea.
Isn't that why Shukri is joining us? Join us.
Absolutely right. That's why we've all joined us as a progressive